Hello, this is gonna be my little video on my NixOS config. It's because I was learning how to do it and I switched over to it and it's gonna be cool. So let's go over to my screen. Um, so this is my NixOS configuration and it's written by me. I'm very proud of it. Um, and I guess I'll just give you like a rundown basically on what's kind of about it. Um, so to start out, the main directory kind of just hosts everything. So there's like flick.nix, there's resource shard, which is like all my documentation, Nix code, and some scripts that I wrote. And then inside host jar is essentially all my host configurations. That kind of just contains everything like kind of associated with each computer. I know that you can do it other ways, or like declare them in Nix in Flake, but I like it that way. And in mod jar is just all my modules, and it's very convenient. So I guess we'll just go in each one. In terms of hierarchy, so the most important parts about actually managing each individual computer is actually the host configurations. So where we declare them is in the Flake, because Flakes are cool. I made a little template, so every time when I, build a new computer, I can just copy this, put them at the bottom, and, Bob's your uncle. So essentially, just enter the template name, the system name, or not the system, but this is the system name, and then it just sets it, and then you just enter the same thing here, or something different, I don't know, it's whatever you want. And then you just, make a new file in the host jar directory, and you can add some little extras here. Add a little thing, end of counter. And essentially inside this is you just pass, I try not to pass too many things over into them. The only real important thing is anything in the inputs block. That's NVF, home manager, and NixPKGs. It's really that's it. And then host name is just kind of like when you want to set the host name to be. So if it differs to the actual name of the system, you can name it laptop. And then inside modules is where I declare everything. So the mod jar just declares all the modules. So it's already like, kind of just sets up the whole thing, all the options. And then once it goes inside host jar, it also sets up all the pre-configured options for calendar or Linux or ZMR. So yeah. So when we go into the actual directory, so for instance, we'll go in this computer. The default is just this. It just has like a little map block here, and it just sets it up for each user. And then over here is just like the home manager block that actually just sets up some other options for home manager. This makes it convenient for other things like extra special args and some other things. GNOME isn't actually fully implemented yet, because as of right now, I'm not really pre-configuring GNOME, as it is broken, for me at least. But Hyperland and Neri are the same, or are not the same, because I could actually configure Hyperland and Neri for each user. So that is it for that. Yeah, and obviously inherits host name, backup file extension, just in case, if it needs to write over a previous file or some other issue arises. I could automate boot. I probably will eventually. It's just, I kind of got scared when I first started out, so I kind of just make it a manual thing, something you should always check. I got a notification on my phone. Yeah, and hardware is kind of where all the hardware stuff is. It's predefined on the system, and system is actually the cool part. So we'll go into system first. So in system is kind of like the actual root level configurations. So we can do some things right here. So 25.11 is the state version, and 26.05 is when I added home manager on this computer. Sys settings is just an options area that I declared in modules. So users, you can enter as many as you want, but I'm jar, so there's only going to be me. And you add it to admin users inside experience install. Essentially just installs them. Sometimes they do little extra things, like in, I can show you later, but yeah. so it just installs those kind of stuff. So you can have GNOME, Hyperlin, and Neri. Those are all the really things I care about. Hyperlin is nice. Neri is what I always use. Bluetooth, you can enable that if you want. This thing doesn't have Bluetooth, so we're good. I don't like TLP for this computer. Power profiles, I can put that on for this. Audio, as I'm recording a video, I want that turned on. And also, I want my add-ons turned on that I made. That will, managing audio on this was so cool. And then you can turn on local send for the system. Like if you want to share files and stuff, it just makes it more convenient. You can turn on Flatpak, not really needed for me, but you can have it. Inside this gaming block, you can turn on Steam, and then inside the drivers inside gaming block, you can enable it and set it as AMD or Intel. I might set up for NVIDIA, but I really would have to have a computer that actually uses NVIDIA cards, but I've never really felt motivated to get one, so we'll see where that takes me. Virtual camera just sets up V412, which is the kernel module, I think, that allows the users to like use as a virtual camera for like OBS, that kind of thing. And then vert.enable equals true sets up virtualization, so installs GNOME boxes and some other apps, which is nice because I like virtual machines, they're so cool. And in the server section, I'm just keeping it simple right now, but I just set up Jellyfin, and JUser is just a little variable I set to equal to the user. So, yeah. And then in here, you just set up like basic user settings for like Git and other silly stuff like that. So if you want to like set up an email, I kind of goofed up on that. I probably should set it as my main email, but I can change that later. Yeah. And then back in default, it sets another spot, which is users.nix or user.nix. And since it's a loop, it will go in each iteration. So when you declare something in the system, it will also declare all the users. So with each user, it will set their own little declaration of what they want. And since I really am not a crazy Nix programmer, I don't really know how to configure per user. So yeah, I'm not doing that right now. And then so inside here, it just goes into the user bin, which is in modjar, and it just loads, user settings and all that, so like non-super sister system configurations. Yeah, so let's go into user. It's the exact same process. I kind of want to treat it as a checklist. Is like, I want this, I don't want that, I want this, I don't want that. So it's kind of convenient. And I set these as like Neri.enable, which is a thing I passed over, and it just makes it convenient. Someday I'll add GNOME, but not right now. Fuzzle, it's just a little thing I like to have just on everything. Browsers, it just sets like LibreWolf, Firefox, and I think links, but I don't really know where I put that somewhere. I know I put it somewhere, and I need to put it inside the browser section. Terminal just sets foot as a terminal. Editors, which is like VS Codium, Zed, Obsidian, and VF, which is the thing that manages my, I think I'm brain farting, NeoVim. And it's nice, so I like it. And what else? So we can turn on Discord. Again, we don't really need Flatpak. Nautilus was just my file managers, all this silly little things. I don't really use a lot of these, but when I do want to manage files, I would probably open Nautilus or Yazi. Media, it just turns on like media tools like MPV, KeyPass, password manager. Gaming, it turns on like Minecraft and Heroic, which is nice. We love Minecraft. Art tools like Krita and Blender, Office and OBS, video editors. So I haven't really set up any other ones. Japanese stuff, so you can type in Japanese or any other input. I'll probably add more, but right now I only really type another Japanese. AI stuff, so if you want to like use on LM Studio. And then Git stuff, Bluetooth, again, I don't know, just set as a thing. I kind of forgot to turn that off, but then dev stuff, so basic languages, stuff like that, tools. And yeah, and essentially, that's kind of it. I'll kind of just show you like some highlighted ones. So when I was kind of new to not Hyper-on, to NixOS, I didn't really know how to symlink, but then I did learn how to do it. You just do xcg.config file, and you just like type in the name of the file, like where it's supposed to be, and then you just reference the actual file contents, which is the file. And then you just link it all in, and you can do the same thing for files as well. So you could just declare a file in the hyperconfig, and then you just declare all the files from this, and it just grabs all the contents and just puts them in there. Ah, it's beautiful. I love it. And then you can do like host-specific stuff, this is how I do host-specific things. So I just, depending on what name of the user is, it just copies it. I might need to make an if statement to check for things where, like, if there isn't an already declared user and they just didn't configure it, it would just set up to a default or something. I did the same for Neri, which is nice, and my NVF config is not really the same because it's all configured in Nix, which is really cool. I love it. What else do I want to show? My audio config, that'd be probably really cool. So in my audio config, this is kind of like all I really need, just like basic apps like EasyFX, KDW Graph, and View Control. That kind of just manages my stuff. And then if I want an add-on, which is my little like video editing like audio configuration, this is really fun to learn, but the documentation wasn't super helpful, so I had to figure this out on my own. But essentially, you just make your own little audio stuff. So you declare them as like a loopback. I have like loopbacks inside the args block. You can set like the name of it and then description for like what apps want to call them. And you can just set like what the input and what the output is, which is very convenient. So I just have like two main ones. So it's microphone and jar audio. Jar audio is kind of like what grabs everything. And then microphone is kind of just connects my microphone, and then every other app uses it. So for instance, like this app uses microphone. So if I go to where is settings, preferences, they changed everything. Oh well, I can look at that later. But you can, every other app just kind of like sees it as microphone. And then the cool part is that you can make other audio channels. They can set up to like configure other things. So for instance, like browser audio, what I do is, for instance, like this, if I was playing a video on YouTube channel, I can open up my OBS here. So if I pull this, and you can see that I have music playing. So if I go over to music, it's Blanket. Blanket is just playing some, rain noises and stuff. And it's just how I like to isolate my audio. So it makes it really convenient when I do video making, and it is able to kind of separate it out. And you can tell it to target a certain audio capture. So I make browser audio to send all of its audio to JarCap, which is a part of jar audio, which is really nice. Yeah, so you like node name equals JarCap, and it just sends it all over there, which is really nice. It's the same thing for like all the other things. So like there's like chat. So if I like have Discord up, or music, or browser, or game. So for record games, it's very cool, and I love it. It's another one. For instance, I had a gyro issue, and solving it on Fedora was kind of annoying, and I didn't really know how to do it. But seeing how people do it on NixOS was like, bro, this is crazy. So I just wanted to make sure like I had little documentations and stuff, which is nice. So it's just like the fact that you could just yes, this is where my firmware is, and fix it. It's just beautiful, and now I don't need to remember how to do this, even though it'd be nice to remember how to do it. I've been adding a lot of documentation too for it. For instance, in documentation, I've been adding like install guides. My install guide has been changing over a long time. It's because I keep doing rewrites, and GoPop is a little insane. So Yeah, but I kind of do like making install guides. It's kind of fun. Um, so yeah, it's cool. While I could do a script to do it, I kind of really like the process of the user looking at what you're doing. So yeah, I think it's nifty. Um, then I'm trying to add more documentation. So like add some documentation for Pipewire, so I can at least try to like gimbal bop some knowledge onto the public. Not that anybody really reads any of it, but it's like it's there for people if they do want to look. Coloring isn't quite a thing yet for me. I do art, but I'm not a colorful person. I really sketch. So theming on this is like kind of an enemy. QT is my nemesis, so maybe someday, but not right now. And I modules. I think this is a bit of an old one, just because I don't really remember what's anything in here. But I think actually this is pretty recent. I don't know. I think this looks about right. We'll see. We'll see if somebody complains about it. What else? I tried Whale a little bit. Whale was pretty cool, but aside from that, like this is kind of just my computer. Like I just do my little writing projects, and I just look at wallpapers and I half tone them. You know, like I don't know. It's nice. I have a lot of Elden Ring wallpapers, but yeah, I don't know. I think I just like NixOS. I like that I can just declare it and just be like, hey, I'm done. It's fixed. So yeah, that is my NixOS configuration.